Education should be fun, it should be exciting, it's a time to learn and grow, not a time to struggle. When you watch a first grader going off to school, you see the happiest kid in the world. They're carrying their book bag, they feel like they're on top of the world, they're a big person that day, and somewhere between first and third grade in our school system, we really beat our students down. That's when we start to find they don't want to go to school, they don't like school, and yet as individuals, biologically, we have a knack for learning. We love to learn. 30 years ago, any child who was bright, meaning their comprehension was intact, but yet their mechanics of language, their ability to read or their ability to code, was not up to their comprehension level, they just labeled everyone dyslexic. In the last 30 years, our assessment tools have become so refined that we can really pinpoint where in the reading process or where in the acquiring language skills a child is breaking down. But really what we're dealing with even with dyslexia is a child who has a language-based difference, meaning that their mechanics of language do not meet their full intellectual potential.
The word got to me over the summer. This grandmother says, well, you're not going to do nothing with this break. There's a little school starting up outside in Baltimore County. Went out and inquired, looking around for someone named Joyce Bilgrave. And I walked into this big mansion, and there was a woman down scrubbing the floor. And I walked in, and she heard me coming in. And I said, hello, my name is Mark Westerveld. I'm looking for Joyce Bilgrave. And she looked up and said, well, you found her, so grab a brush and tell me what you want. You know, I've lived in Baltimore all my life, so I can go out into the community and literally I'll run into families everywhere, restaurants, stores, ball games, things of that sort. And the first thing they want to tell me is their success story of their son or daughter and how things have gone since Jemicy.
I kind of struggled a lot in school, and it was kind of hard because I felt like I was in a lower group than everyone else at my old school. Now that I'm at Jemicy, I love school. I always want to come to school, and whenever my mom pulls me out of school to go to the doctors or anything, I always yell at her because I don't want to miss school.
I think the biggest joy for me is when I have a parent that gives me a phone call, just a quick phone call, and says, you will not believe what I saw this morning. My first reaction is, oh my gosh, what did you see? And with tears, I hear on the other end of the line, my daughter was reading in bed without being told to do so. And those are the moments that I cherish. And then I say, oh, thank goodness there's a Jemicy for these children.
Blue ink.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then spell out the letters.
BLANK.
That's very good. And what is it that you're doing here when you move your hands like that?
It's sounding the letters,
Mm-hmm.
like tapping out the letters.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I was the apple seller, and I was wearing a red coat, sort of popped out. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And what do you want to be?
A fashion designer. I'd really like to be a fashion
And
designer.
why?
Because sometimes when I put together outfits, I'm like, Dad, could you help me out? And he helps me match the top with the bottom, and then the bottom with the top, sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
We have a guinea pig, cockroaches, gerbils, and there's a bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon. What is a bearded dragon?
It's like a lizard,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of looks like a miniature dragon.
You would answer a question, and Mike would throw, and he would throw a ball, and somebody has to hit the ball.
What is to the south of the arrow? Throw it back, Andy.
Africa.
Yes!
Here, I'm gonna
Swing
predict
away.
what's gonna happen. We're gonna win. Okay?
I think our students, while they're here, they learn to become self-advocates for themselves. They realize who they are as learners, and they realize what they need to be successful. We teach them how to ask for the accommodations that they'll need to be successful, and when they transition to a more mainstream type of school in the Baltimore area, they're willing to ask their teachers for the support that they need.
They teach us how to advocate by telling us it's okay to go over a teacher at the end of the class to get the work you need, or if you miss something, go over to the teacher. The teacher won't mind, but the teacher can't pick you out in a huge class. Mm-hmm. And that your answer is important even if you get it wrong, because like when I first came, I didn't want to raise my hand or anything, but then they taught me that my answer is important.
And they come to us and they're really battered, they're bruised, they've been successful, and then all of a sudden they hit the wall, and that's when their learning difference has been diagnosed. It takes a while for them to, for our teachers to help them take off their armor. When you're starting to feel comfortable is when you're able to really start the learning process. And our goal, and one of the ones that I love, having been here so long, is really seeing these very closed-off students who come into our community, leave, and they're able to function in a community college, four-year college, wherever they desire to go, and flourish. One of my favorites is when I see one of our students who's a college graduate to really say, I did it, and that's the goal.
They really focus on individual students rather than, classes as a whole. If one person doesn't understand it, they really go out of their way to just try and make sure that one person understands the material that they're doing.
Before I came to Jemicy, me and a bunch of other students in my class were kind of like, had to be pulled out and had to have different things done for us because I didn't have a learning program to help me out. Even like when I was doing math, my math had to be cut down because I couldn't finish it. I felt like an outsider because everybody else was doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I look down, I'm like, oh my goodness, why couldn't I get that, or why can't I be faster doing this? Well, when I leave Jemicy, I want to go to college, of course, go to pre-med major and then off to med school after that.
I'm taking a class called Decoding, and the teacher is Miss Masuda, and she helps me with like breaking down words and building words and like making different sounds with the vowels and with the consonants, and it helps out a lot. Last year I did go to the kinetic sculpture race, and it was I think like 14 or 15 miles, but last year, well, me and my dad went, but last year we didn't have bikes, so we walked the whole way. It was a long day.
There was a unit, and we figured out if we were a tactile learner or a visual learner. The test told me I was a tactile learner, that I like to do things.
I learn slower than other kids. Not like, I don't learn as fast, but I'll learn as much as they do. In skills, sometimes we play catch outside with a ball and bounce it and say our ABCs.
And that helps you remember your ABCs?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
My favorite subject is math, because I wasn't good at math, but now I am very good at math.
Yeah.
Games help me out because it's funner for me, and then I understand it better. We go on the computer, and we're doing stocks. And you take like Pepsi, you would see the stocks go up or go down.
And sometimes we bake and we do math with it. It's just a lot of fun. Like, I'm not a very big speller. I'm very phonetic, so I can't spell very well. So they've helped me download Dragon onto my computer to help me like talk to it so it will write what I need instead of me sitting there for hours spell checking it. The highlighting breaks the beginning sentence apart from the middle paragraph and then apart from the conclusion. And then there's like little details in between, so it really like keeps it all together, and so you don't get like off track. But I really want to go to like college and become like maybe a lawyer or a judge. But before that, I want to go to Israel for a year and just like learn about my religion more and just have fun and become just more independent.
The most important thing I've learned since I've been at Jemicy is speaking up. Advocate for yourself, because you can't get what you want unless you speak up for yourself. We use smart boards, which was new for me, but I find them very handy. A smart board is a board that you can touch, and you can write on it and highlight things and print everything out. And it's for kids who are visual learners, it helps them with visualizing things.
We had calf liver, and we put it in acid,
and it bubbled up when you put it in. We were trying to learn that the same stuff that we put on our scars and scabs, if you put it on raw meat, that it would help clean the meat too as well.
In 3rd grade, I think I was diagnosed, and I mean, I guess I was a little bit different than my classmates because I would go into separate rooms and stuff. So I didn't really know, I just thought I was really stupid, to be honest. So when I came to Jemicy, I was told, I think like in the 8th grade, which is when I first came, you know, about everything that I had and how I can fix it. And I didn't know I loved English until I came to Jemicy. In fact, I hated writing, and I hated English, and I hated reading. And I came to Jemicy, and I think it was my 11th grade year with Miss Van Orden. I love writing now.
What would you say to other children who aren't at Jemicy, who struggle with language-based learning differences?
But they're not stupid. I really honestly thought I was really stupid. And now just tell them that they just have to work on it and they'll find what they're good at.
My dream for students with dyslexia is that they realize they truly have a gift and they are productive members of society, and that just because they struggle with the written word does not mean they're not smart. In fact, they're extremely smart, extremely bright. If we look at the dyslexics in our history, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, Lyndon Johnson, J. Rockefeller, these are all people that had dyslexia who were major contributors to our society. How about Winston Churchill? Where would we have been in World War II without Winston Churchill leading the way for England at that time? So when you look at who these leaders are, when you look at the traits that they have, I hope that your students realize their gift, take it into the world, and make a real difference in the world.